Hello friends, welcome to Affairs Cloud Learn to Lead. This is Ashu and today we will discuss very important current affairs of 10th of April 2021. You can see two best images of the day, but today we will discuss very important current affairs. So watch video till last, but I am requesting you all the students that you have to like this video. You have to share as maximum as possible because we need your strong support, and you have to subscribe this channel if you are new on this platform. Guys, you can download our application. Application name is Careers Cloud and it will enhance your performance. And guys, you can download with very simple method, like you have to go to the description box and we put a downloading link of this application and you can download from that link. And after downloading and after opening this application, the first window will appear, this first window, and you can log in with your email ID. After login, this second window will appear and you have to click on this crack current affairs section. After clicking, there are two options, like you can subscribe for 1 year as well, or you can subscribe for 2 years. It means you can subscribe for 12 months as well as for 24 months. But what we are providing under this subscription and how this subscription will enhance your preparation. Like first of all, we are providing daily current affairs. In the daily current affairs section, we are providing three type of the sections. Like one is the detailed current affair of particular day and it is provided in the PDF format. Next is the question and answer PDF. It means all the detailed current affair will be converted in the form of question and answer and you can practice your daily current affairs. Next is the quiz section. You can attempt a daily quiz on our application and you can test that how much current affair you can retain. Next is the weekly section, and again we are providing three sections like same as daily, and one is the detailed current affair of particular week. Next is the question and answer format of the current affairs of particular week. Next is the quiz section which you can attempt on our application and you can test that how much weekly current affair you can retain. Next is the monthly section and it is the most important section because we are providing so many current affairs. Like first is the study PDF. It means all the detailed and theoretical current affairs will be provided under this PDF. Next is the to revise these current affairs, we are providing question and answer PDF. It means you can revise your detailed current affair in the format of question and answer from this PDF. Next is the top 100 current affairs. It means top 100 current affairs will be provided to you in the form of question and answer, so that you can revise best to best current affairs before your exam. Next is the pocket PDF. As the name suggests, it is very important to revise the current affair very quickly before your exam. Now this is like simple section like daily, weekly and the monthly, but we are also providing the smart PDF. Smart PDF stands for the topic wise PDF. It means if your one section is weak, then you can revise your one section from particular this PDF. Like if your apps and web portal section is weak, it means if you want to revise only apps and web portal, then you can revise from this section. Next is the important days. Important days, if you want to revise before your exam the important day section, then you can revise from that section. Books and author is there, and there are 20 type of the sections which we are providing in the different PDF format. So it will definitely enhance your performance. Next is the if you are banking awareness student, it means if you are a banking aspirant, then we are providing two type of the PDFs. One is related to the question and answer format of the banking and economy section, and next is the quiz section. It means you can attempt this quiz on a application and you can check that how much banking and economy current affair you can retain. Next is the exam PDF. It is basically a compilation of every month like January, February, March and so on. So it is important for every exam. Next is the special current affair, and special current affair stands for the budget and economic survey. It means detailed budget or the important facts of the budget and economic survey will be presented in the form of PDF. And guys, expected question which can be asked in your exam also provided with this special current affair. We are also providing the state current affairs because the students who are preparing for SSC banking exams, they are also preparing for their state exams. So we are also providing the state current affairs and we are covering every state and the union territory. So guys, all these things like smart PDFs, banking awareness, special PDF, or you can say daily, weekly and the monthly PDFs provided under only one subscription. And you have to download our application, that is Careers Cloud, and you can download from the description box link, and you have to log in with your email ID, and after clicking on crack current affair you can get 1 year subscription as well as 2 year subscription, and both the subscription price is very much low, very low. Even if you see the price, you will definitely surprise. And guys, on that minimal price we are providing 10% extra discount. If you use this code ASH10, then you will get 10% extra discount. So let's start today's current affair, that is the 10th of April 2021. And guys, I'm again requesting you that you have to like this video because we have a target of 700 plus likes, and you have to share as maximum as possible, and you have to subscribe this channel if you're new on this platform. Let's start today's session with the most important question section, and here is our first question. Recently, which deputy governor of RBI retired after serving as the deputy governor for 4 years? So mark this question the most important question because it is related to RBI and it is related to one of the deputy governor of RBI, and all the students you know that total deputy governor of RBI are 4. Now, this one deputy governor recently retired and he was appointed as a deputy governor of RBI in 2017. His time period was ended in 2020, but 1 year time period extended in 2020 due to COVID-19. So that's why now this governor retired, and the name of this deputy governor is BP Kango. Remember the name, answer is B. So guys, remember now only 3 deputy governors left. You can see the other options like Mahesh Kumar Jain is left, Mishal Debapatra is left, and Rajeshwar Rao. Rajeshwar Rao was recently appointed in October-November 2020. Remember, October-November 2020, recently deputy governor was appointed, Rajeshwar Rao. It means only 3 deputy governors are now left. It means 1 position is vacant, and we will cover this question when government will appoint the next deputy governor of RBI. So guys, remember, this is very simple question. BP Kango, or you can say Bibu Prasad Kango. I am writing here Bibu Prasad Kango. So remember this. Now we can also move to the next question. Now you can see there, BP Kango retired after serving as the deputy governor of RBI for 4 years, and he was appointed in April 2017, but his time period was ended in 2020 and his time period extended for 1 year in 2020. As a deputy governor, he was in charge of the various portfolios, but you don't have to require to remember any type of the portfolio, and all his portfolios now reshuffled and divided into the 3 deputy governors. Like 3 deputy governors left are these 3: Mahesh Kumar Jain, Mishal Debapatra, and Rajeshwar Rao. Now we can move to the next question. Which institute is ranked as the best higher education institution in India according to academic ranking of World University 2020, which is also known as the Shanghai ranking? So guys, mark this question in the most important section because it is the world most important ranking if you are talking about the best institution all over world. And this ranking named as the academic ranking of world universities, or it is also known as ARWU 2020. This is the acronym of this abbreviation. Academic ranking of world university, or ARWU 2020 ranking, is released by Shanghai ranking consultancy. That's why it is known as the Shanghai ranking. And there are 2 types of the ranking. One is basically the best higher education institution, and second is the best university. So in the higher institution list, the which institution of India topped? This is the IISc Bengaluru. Remember, Indian Institute of Science Bengaluru topped in the higher education institute of India. If we are talking about the university ranking, then which university topped in the from the Indian side? And this university is University of Calcutta, one of the oldest university, because 3 universities was established simultaneously, like University of Calcutta, University of Bombay, and University of Madras during the time period of the Lord Dalhousie and the Lord Canning. So guys, remember, University of Calcutta is the best university of India according to the academic ranking of the World University 2020, and IISc Bengaluru is the best higher education institution in India. And guys, if we are talking about all over world level, then Harvard University is the best institution all over world. Remember, I am basically rubbing this. Harvard University is the best university all over world. And second rank goes to the Stanford University, and both the universities belong to United States of America. Third university basically belong to United Kingdom, and University of Cambridge is there. Remember, University of Cambridge. So if we are talking about Indian side, and if we are talking about the category of best higher education institution, then it is IIT Madras is on the second, and University of Calcutta is on the third. It means in the university ranking, it is the University of Calcutta which topped. So guys, you can see here, it is the Shanghai ranking, or you can say the Shanghai ranking consultancy who ranked this academic particulars. And Indian Institute of Science was ranked at the best higher education institution. If we are talking about the universities, then it is Calcutta University. And which university topped? You have to remember the Harvard University, and Stanford University you have to remember on the second position. And guys, you can also see this: Harvard University, second Stanford, and third is the University of Cambridge. And guys, remember, Indian side is represented by the Indian Institute of Science Bengaluru. And if we are talking about the world ranking, then it comes under the ranking of 500 to 600. And if we are talking about only the Indian side, then IISc Bengaluru on the first, IIT Madras on the second, and in the university category, University of Calcutta is on the first, or overall ranking is on the third position. So guys, you can also remember recent released ranking. This is the Indian Institute of Science Science, again Bengaluru ranked under the 301 to 350 group ranking, and in India it tops in the 63 Indian institution which qualified the ranking. And this the ranking stands for Times Higher Education Ranking. So you have to remember this. This is again the most important ranking all over world. Times Higher Education Ranking, Indian top institute is Indian Institute of Science Bengaluru, and according to Shanghai ranking, it is again the Indian Institute of Science Bengaluru which tops. So question is not difficult, just remember these two things that are very, very important. So IISc Bengaluru here is important. Headquarters is in Bengaluru, Karnataka. It was established in 1909. 1909. Who is the Director General of the Indian Institute of Science? Director is Govindan Rangarajan. Govindan Rangarajan. So remember this. Now we can move to the next question. Next question is, who became the first Indian woman sailor to qualify for Olympics? So students, mark this question in the most important category because she is the first Indian woman sailor to qualify for Olympics. Other three players also qualified, but she became the first Indian woman sailor to qualify for Olympics. Till date, she will be the 10th Indian to qualify for the sailing event in the Olympics, and she secured the place through her performance in the Open Championship, a qualifier for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. But you don't have to remember, just remember the name of the woman player. So guys, we can eliminate the options. Like you can see the name of the Bhavani Devi. Bhavani Devi was the first woman fencer who qualified for Olympics, so it cannot be answered, but it is the again most important question that who was the first fencer who qualified for the Olympics? That is Bhavani Devi. Next, Vinesh Fogart, wrestler, also qualified for the Olympics. Yes. And next, Vishnu Sharmanan, also a sailor, and but he's a man, and he qualified for the Olympics. So we are talking about the first Indian woman sailor. So only option left is Netra Kumanan. So remember the name Netra Kumanan is the answer. Other options are very, very important, guys. Remember this option, D option, Bhavani Devi, is very, very important because she was the first who qualified, first fencer who qualified for the Olympics. Vinesh Fogart in the wrestling category qualified, and Vishnu Sharma in the sailor category qualified, but he's a man. So guys, you can also see here Netra Kumanan, just 23-year-old, become the first Indian woman who qualified for the Olympics in the laser radial category, but you don't have to remember the categories of the sailing. Just remember she is the first woman, and she will be the 10th Indian to qualify for the sailing event in the Olympics because 4 Indian sailors including Netra qualified for 2020 Olympics. One is the Vishnu Sharmanan, and next is the Ganpati Chenankpa, and next is the Varun Thakkar. So these 3 players also qualified in the sailing category in 2021 Olympics. So guys, remember this vital information. Now we can move to the next question. Next is the very important question section, but you have to like this video because we have a target of 700 plus. So we need your support, and guys, share as maximum as possible and subscribe this channel if you're new on this platform. Next is the You Grow Capital partner with which bank India to launch credit card for MSMEs like micro, small and medium enterprises, because they are in deep stress due to COVID-19. So that's why there is need to revive this micro, small and medium industry. So there is a credit card type of the loan which will be provided by the You Grow Capital with the help of this bank, and this bank name is the SBM Bank. So guys, remember State Bank of Mauritius. In India, SBM Bank headquarters is in Mumbai, and who is the managing director and CEO of this SBM Bank? CEO of SBM Bank is Siddharth Rath. Remember the name, Siddharth Rath. And this bank was started in 2018, and guys, remember SBM became the first foreign bank in India to operate as a new Indian bank. Remember, I am repeating again, SBM Bank is the first foreign bank in India because it is a Mauritius bank. So that's why it is the first foreign bank in India to operate as a new Indian bank. And guys, now you can see this. This is basically a prototype of this credit card. SBM Bank logo is here. You Grow logo is here. That is a credit card facility, or you can say the financial company who is providing the loans. Next is it is powered by the RuPay. So you have to remember this also. And guys, you can see here You Grow Capital partners with the SBM Bank India to grow smart business. This is a name of the credit card, Grow Smart Business, to launch Grow Smart Business credit card. And you can also see here this card is basically for the micro, small and medium enterprises. It means some amount of the loan will be provided under this credit card, and it will be provided to the micro, small and medium industries. The credit card is powered by RuPay, so you have to remember this. These are the specially designed for underbanked micro, small, and medium enterprises. It means the customers who are related to the micro, small, and medium enterprise and who don't have any type of the loan facility and who are not attached with the bank. So the Ugrow Capital will provide this type of the credit card, and the credit card will be provided with the help of the SBM Bank. This can be availed by the Ugrow Capital borrowers against a fixed deposit with the SBM Bank India. It means what will be the mortgage? The mortgage is the fixed deposit which will be presented by the SBM Bank of India. And guys, remember, the loan limit which is provided through the credit card is 90% of the FD. 90% of the FD. It means if you have a FD in the SBM bank, then you can take loan from the Ugrow Capital and it will be through the credit card. And the loan will be provided 90% of the fixed deposit which will be deposited in the SBM bank. And what will be the interest rate? Interest rate will be the 5%. 5%. It is a fixed and it is not variable. It is a fixed interest rate. And what can be the tenure? Tenure can be the 1 to 5 years. 1 to 5 years. And documentation is very simple, like Aadhaar card based one time know your customer or the KYC e-PAN card facility. It means there will be no hard documents required. Only the e-paper work is required. And guys, remember 3 hours. Only the 3 hours will be required to take this loan. So you don't have to remember. These are the just extra information so that you can remember this news for long time period. You have to remember the name of the company, Ugrow Capital. You have to remember the SBM Bank and all the things which I told you about the SBM Bank. Now we can move to the next question. Next question is, which organization approved a USD 484 million loan to improve transport connectivity and the road maintenance in Chennai Kanyakumari Industrial Corridor in Tamil Nadu? So the very important thing under this question is this Chennai Kanyakumari Industrial Corridor, and it is one of the corridor of very important industrial line that connects West Bengal to Tamil Nadu. So this is very important because the whole line is connecting West Bengal to Tamil Nadu. It means all the eastern coast will be covered under this section. And this is just a one stretch like Chennai to Kanyakumari Industrial Corridor. And which organization is provided and why they are providing? It is just to increase the participation of the manufacturing industry in production networks and global value chain and create jobs along the corridors. And answer of this question is Asian Development Bank. So guys, remember about all the things about Asian Development Bank. President is Mast Sugu. Remember, you can remember just the name of the Mast Sugu. And Managing Director General is Woong Hong Chum, but don't remember Managing Director General, only remember the President. Established in 1966. Headquarters is in Manila. This is important. And how many countries are member? 68 countries are member, including India. So guys, you can also remember the World Bank. World Bank is assisting so many products in India. Like they are assisting Himachal Pradesh. Even they are providing some loan to Himachal Pradesh for road and safety to improve the road infrastructure. They are providing a loan to the Punjab government to increase the water connectivity in India, or especially the Punjab area. They are also providing so much money to the northeastern states for improving the education system in the northeastern states like Nagaland. Mizoram is also there. So guys, remember Asian Development Bank and the World Bank. So you can see here, it is Asian Development Bank who approved USD 484 million loan to improve transport connectivity at the Chennai Kanyakumari Industrial Corridor in Tamil Nadu. You can also see here, it is a stretch from West Bengal to Tamil Nadu because it is covering the eastern coast economic corridor of India, and it connects India to the production network of the southeast and the East Asia, because from the West Bengal we are connecting to the Myanmar and the Bangladesh, and from the Myanmar we can connect to the Southeast and the East Asia like Singapore, Philippines is there, Indonesia is there, so we can connect from to these countries. And Asian Development Bank approved 300 million USD dollar, or you can say that 2200 crore loan for strengthening comprehensive primary healthcare in the urban areas program in India. It means Asian Development is providing 300 million, or you can say that when 2200 crore dollar, 2200 crore rupees, not dollar, for the improvement of primary healthcare in the India. And they are also providing the $2 million assistance grant. It means it is not a loan, it is a grant. It is provided to reduce the poverty in India, and it is through the Asian Development Bank Japan Fund for Poverty. So guys, remember Asian Development Bank, all the things are very, very important. Now we can move to the next question. National Collateral Management Limited signed a MOU with whom to provide skill training in agriculture sector. So the very important keyword under this question is to skill training in the agriculture sector, so that maximum to maximum income in the agriculture sector can be enhanced, because there is a target that by the year of 2022 we have to double the farmers income. So National Collateral and Management Limited signed a MOU with Agriculture Skill Council of India to provide skill training in the agriculture sector. So answer of this question is C. And this will enable a continuous learning platform, or you can say the framework, that will lead to the training and development of resources in the agriculture industry and the agriculture warehouse industry. So you can see here, it is just to bridge the gap between the current vocational educational programs and the corresponding industry requirement and the expectation. Because there is so much burden in the agriculture sector, almost 60% of the people are depending on the agriculture sector, but they are just contributing 14 to 16% of the total income in the GDP. So that's why there is a need of the vocational courses, so that their skills can be enhanced and they can work more in the productive manner. So this will enable a continuous learning framework that will lead to the training and development of resources in the agriculture industry and the agriculture warehousing industry. And the process is divided into three parts of the learning courses, like training courses will be there, prior training is there, and special projects will be there. So according to National Skill Qualification Framework, this will create occupational standard for the various job roles. It means the job sections will be diversified and they can do job with more confidence. So this is the national, or you can say the Agriculture Skill Council of India. You have to remember this. Now we can move to next question. The Central Reserve Police Force Valor Day is annually observed across India on which day? So most important thing under this question is this CRPF. And guys, remember, this CRPF came into existence in 27th of July 1939. But at that time, the name was not Central Reserve Police Force. The name was Crown Representative Police. Remember, Crown Representative Police on the 27th of July 1939, but after independence in 1949 it was renamed as Central Reserve Police Force. Now we are celebrating Central Reserve Police Force Valor Day. Why it is celebrated and on which day it is celebrated? It is celebrated on 9th of April, because on 9th of April 1965, India was in war with Pakistan, and the day marks the victory of the small contingent of the CRPF against the Pakistan army at the Sardar post established in the run of Kutch of Gujarat on 9th of April 1965. It means CRPF unit won the area of the Gujarat on 9th of April 1965. That's why it is celebrated on the 9th of April. So guys, remember, it is marked as one of the best battles that was ever fought in the history of the police forces. That's why it is this day is celebrated. That is known as CRPF, or Central Reserve Police Force Valor Day. So you can also see here April 9 CRPF Valor Day 2021. And who is the Director General of CRPF? You have to remember this, Kuldeep Singh. Kuldeep Singh, and he was appointed recently. Remember, the Director General of CRPF, Kuldeep Singh. And guys, remember, it was established in 1939 but with the name of Crown Representative Police, but after independence in 1949 it was renamed as CRPF. And this day marked the victory of the Indian contingent of CRPF against the Pakistan army in the area of Sardar Post, run of Kutch, Gujarat. And guys, this day is also known as the Shaurya Divas. So remember all these things, these are very, very important. This day is very, very important. And guys, remember, mission of CRPF is to enable the government to effectively and efficiently maintain the rule of law, public order and the internal security, and to preserve the national integrity, to promote social harmony and development by the upholding supremacy of the constitution. And remember, the Director General of CRPF is Kuldeep Singh. Now we can move to the next question. India announced Mukti Yodha Scholarship and Swarna Jayanti Scholarship for the students and the youths of which country? So there is two things are very important under this question. One is the name of the scheme. Second is the name of the country. So first of all, Mukti Yodha Scholarship Scheme. It was originally a new version launched in 2017 when the Prime Minister of this country visited India, and it aims to benefit 10,000 students of this country for a period of 5 years. And this Mukti Yodha Scholarship Scheme will benefit higher secondary students and the undergraduate students, and they will select 2,000 students, 1,000 from the higher secondary students and 1,000 from the undergraduate. So guys, remember this country is Bangladesh, because Bangladesh this year is celebrating Swaran Jayanti. It means the 50 year of independence, because Bangladesh got the independence in 1971 from the Pakistan. And guys, remember 1000 higher secondary students will receive one-time amount of 20,000 taka. Taka is a basic currency of the Bangladesh, and 1000 higher secondary student will receive one-time amount of the 20,000 taka, and 1000 undergraduate students will also receive one-time amount of 50,000 taka directly into their bank account. So guys, remember this Mukti Yoddha scholarship scheme is basically provided to the higher secondary students and the undergraduate students. But this another scheme that is known as the Swaran Jayanti scholarship scheme, it is basically related to the research fellowship, and a research fellowship for the youth of Bangladesh, which is awarded by the Department of Science and Technology under the Ministry of Science and Technology, India. And who is the Union Minister of Science and Technology? That is Harshvardhan Ji. So guys, remember it is Bangladesh. You can see here the direct descendants of the Mukti Yoddha or the Liberation War Fighter. Liberation War Fighter means 1971 war of Bangladesh under the new Mukti Yoddha scholarship scheme. 1000 higher secondary students will receive one-time amount of taka 20,000, and 1000 undergraduate students will receive 50,000 taka directly into their bank account. And under the Swaran Jayanti scholarship scheme, a research fellowship for youths of Bangladesh, which is awarded by the Department of Science and Technology by the Dr. Harshvardhan Ji. The fellowship is annually awarded to outstanding research by the young scientist. And you know all the things about Bangladesh. Bangladesh is celebrating the 50th anniversary of their independence. And guys, remember one most important thing, the currency is taka. And who is currently the Prime Minister? Sheikh Hasina is the Prime Minister. And who is known as the Banga Bandhu, the father of the nation of Bangladesh. And this is Banga Bandhu, or you can say the Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Now we can move to next question. What is the name of the initiative which was recently launched by Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank ji for implementation of National Education Policy 2020? And guys, remember this National Education Policy will replace the old National Education Policy which was prepared in 1986. It means the old National Education Policy was established in 1986. But after 34 years, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji approved this National Education Policy of 2020, or you can say it is also known as the New Education Policy of 2020. So for implementation of this new education policy or the National Education Policy, Ramesh Pokhriyal ji launched a new initiative that is known as Sarthak. So guys, remember this name Sarthak. Sarthak represents all the new education policy ideas, and it means students and teachers holistic advancement through quality education. So this platform will serve the implementation of the new education or the National Education Policy of 2020. Other options are also important, but let us discuss first the question, then we will discuss the options. So you can see here Sarthak initiative for the implementation of National Education Policy, and it is launched by the Ramesh Pokhriyal ji, that is Union Minister of Education, and his constituency is Haridwar, Uttarakhand, and it's the launching of the Sarthak. So you can see here implementation plan of the school education called Students and Teachers Holistic Advancement Through Quality Education. That platform is known as Sarthak, and it has been released as a part of celebration leading to the Amrit Mahotsav, that is the 75th year of Indian independence, which will be celebrated in 2022 on the 15th of August. So India will celebrate the 75 year of independence. Uniform standards in learning outcomes and governance across public and private schools. This is the main initiative of this National Education Policy of 2020, and this Sarthak will focus on the outlining goals, outcomes and time frame, that is links recommendation of the National Education Policy with 297 tasks along with the responsible agencies. It means outlining goals will be decided, what will be the outcomes of this National Education Policy, that will also decided on the Sarthak platform, and how much time it will require to complete these outcomes or the outlining goals, it will also be discussed under the Sarthak platform. So it will be best for the National Education Policy of 2020. And Union Cabinet chaired by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji approved National Education Policy 2020, which was replaced this 34-year-old National Education Policy of 1980. You have to remember the old year, and it was prepared by then Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi ji in 1986. Rajiv Gandhi ji was Prime Minister. And guys, remember one very important thing, that this National Education Policy was prepared by one very important committee that is known as the Kasturi Rangan Committee. Kasturi Rangan Committee. This committee formed this new education or the national education policy of 2020. So other options are again very, very important. These applications are basically launched by for the education or especially for the education sector. Like first application you can see here, the CBS ECL. This is very important because it is released by CBSE. By name you can guess why it is released. It is just to locate the examination center. So that's why it is known as ECL, examination center locator. So to help the students to locate their examination center and see the distance between the current location and the examination center, this is launched by the CBSE due to COVID-19. Next application is Money. It is basically launched by the Reserve Bank of India. Money stands for Money Aided Note Identifier. I am repeating again, mobile aided note identifier. So remember this, and it is launched by the Reserve Bank of India to help visually impaired people to identify the denomination of currency notes. Remember, M stands for mobile, not the money. Next is Sahyatri. So by the name you can guess this app is launched by which department. It is launched by Indian Railways. So people can file their complaints regarding the issues they face in the railways. So that's why it is known as the Sahyatri. So remember other three applications. These are again very important. The most important here is the Money. It is launched by the Reserve Bank of India for the note identification. Now we can move to the next question. According to the Ministry of Finance, which state is the largest contributor to the small savings schemes worth rupees 90,000 crore contribution during the financial year of 2017-18? Mark this question in the very important section because this data is released by National Saving Institute under the Ministry of Finance. And guys, remember the state which has highest contribution in the small savings schemes, almost 12 to 15% of the India's total contribution is basically given by the state. And this state is, guys, West Bengal. And recently election in the West Bengal is going on. And guys, remember 5 states are basically facing the elections in 2021. One is the Tamil Nadu, next is Kerala. Next is West Bengal is there, Assam is there, and one union territory is also there, that is Puducherry. So guys, remember these are very, very important states because they are facing now elections. And guys, remember the small saving schemes are basically center government schemes where funds are collected through the national small saving funds, providing a higher rate of interest and the tax benefits. Like I am giving you examples. A national saving certificate is there, which is known as NSC, and post office monthly income scheme is also there, senior citizen savings scheme, post office time deposit scheme, post office saving account scheme. So these are the basically small saving scheme, and highest contribution goes to West Bengal, and second rank goes with the Uttar Pradesh. So guys, remember. And remember all the things about West Bengal, like who is the governor of West Bengal? Governor is Jagdeep Dhankar. Jagdeep Dhankar. And who is the chief minister? Everyone knows Mamata Banerjee is the chief minister. And a very important thing that are the national parks in West Bengal. Very famous is the Buxa Tiger Reserve. Remember Buxa Tiger Reserve. Next is Goru Mara. Goru Mara, that is near Sikkim, but it is in West Bengal. Goru Mara National Park. Next is Jaldapada National Park. One is the Neora Valley. This is again very important. Neora Valley National Park is there. Singalila National Park, that is very famous. Singalila National Park. Sundarban National Park is again there. So guys, remember Buxa Tiger Reserve, Gorumara National Park, Jaldapada Tiger Reserve, Neora Valley National Park, Singalila National Park, and Sundarban's Tiger Reserve or the Sundarban National Park. Sundarban is also one of the biosphere reserve of India. Total biosphere reserves in India 18. So remember all the things about West Bengal. Now we can move to the next question, but you can also see here with 12 to 15% of India's total contribution, and highest contribution is with the West Bengal, and second rank goes to the Uttar Pradesh. Now, next question from the picture, and this picture is basically belongs to a book named is Akhtari. So you guys have to remember this Akhtari book is related to a life of which person? The life and the music of Begum Akhtar, and it is set to release on 30th of April 2021. It is set to release on 30th of April 2021. Don't remember who wrote this book. Just remember that this book is related to very famous Indian singer Begum Akhtar, or this singer is also known as the Akhtari Bai Faizabadi. Remember Akhtari Bai Faizabadi. This is the second name because she was born in Faizabad, so that's why she was known as the Akhtari Bai Faizabadi. So remember the name, and this book is edited by Jatinder Mishra. So you can also see here, this book is related to the great Indian singer Begum Akhtar and the Akhtari by Faizabadi, and it is edited by the Jitendra Sinha. And she was born on 7th of October 1914 in Faizabad, Uttar Pradesh. That's why she was known as the Faizabadi. And she received the Padam Bhushan, that is the second highest civilian medal. Even you can say after the Bharat Ratan and the Padam Vibhushan. This is the third highest civilian medal. In the list of the Padam, it is the highest second civilian medal. So she received this medal in after death, because she died in 1974 and she received this medal in 1975. And guys, remember, she also received the Sangeet Natak Academy Award in 1972, and she also received the Padam Shri in 1968. But this is not important. Just remember, she received the Padam Bhushan in 1975. So that's why, due to Padam Bhushan, this personality is very, very important if you are talking about exams. Now we can move to the next section. It is the important questions, and you have to provide us 700 plus likes. This is the important target, and please share this video as maximum as possible and subscribe this channel if you're new on this platform. And guys, we are discussing important question, and here is India contributed to United Nations Counter Terrorism Fund, and how much amount India contributed. So guys, you have to remember this. India recently contributed $3 lakh USD to United Nations Women for the gender equality and the women empowerment. Now India is again contributing some amount to the United Nations Counter Terrorism Fund, and this is, guys, about 5 lakh USD. It means almost 3.5 crore rupees India is providing for United Nations Counter Terrorism Fund. So guys, you can see here, India contributed $5 lakh to United Nations Trust Fund for the counter terrorism, and this is total amount which India now funded is around $1.05 million. And this UN Trust Fund for Counter Terrorism was established by the Secretary General of 2009, and you all know by the name, the main work is to counter the terrorism all over world, but special focus is on the United Nations countries. And India set to head of 3 important committees of United Nations Security Council, because India is a non-permanent member of United Nations Security Council for 2 years, and India is now a head of 3 important committees this year, like Counter Terrorism Committee, Taliban Sanctions Committee, and also the Libya Sanctions Committee. So guys, you have to remember, this is again most important question, and we covered this question when India became the member of the non-permanent area of the United Nations Security Council. And remember, in United Nations Security Council, total members are 15. Out of 15, 5 are the permanent members and 10 are the non-permanent member, and non-permanent time period is 2 years, and India is now a non-permanent member of United Nations Security Council. Counter Terrorism Committee, Taliban Sanctions Committee, and Libya Sanctions Committee. Now we can move to the next question, and it is, guys, from the picture, it is in the 6 years that 14.96 lakh crore rupees sanctioned under the Prime Minister Mudra scheme. So the most important thing here is the Mudra scheme or the Mudra Yojana. First of all, you have to remember what is the meaning of this Mudra. Mudra stands for Micro Units Development and Refinance Agency Limited. So Mudra Yojana was launched in 2015, because in 2021, 6 years completed. It means it was launched in 2015 by Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. Initially, it was formed as a fully owned subsidiary of the SIDBI with 100% capital being contributed by it. So remember, it is a fully owned subsidiary of the SIDBI Bank. And guys, a new bank was established by the SIDBI. It is known as the Mudra Bank. Who is currently the MD and CEO of Mudra Bank? MD and CEO is the Alok Gupta. Alok Gupta is currently the MD and CEO of this Mudra Bank. And what comes under this Mudra scheme? Mudra loans are basically offered under the 3 categories. One is known as Shishu category, it means small category. One is known as Kishore category, it means the medium category. And third is the highest category, that is known as the Tarun category. Shishu category basically comes under the loans of up to rupees 50,000. And loan comes under the up to 50,000 to 5 lakh comes under the Kishore, and loans up to the 5 lakh to 10 lakh rupees comes under the Tarun. It means maximum loan can be availed of rupees 10 lakh. And guys, 88% loans comes under the Shishu category. This is the 6-year data of the Mudra Yojana. So guys, remember all the things about the Mudra Yojana which I covered. Now we can move to the next section. It is the one-liner important points. Here is the first point, that is World Table Tennis Day 2021 celebrated on 6th of April. So this day is not so much important. because this day is basically related to one of the specific sport and you can't learn every sports day. So just remember this table tennis day. So why this day is celebrated? It is just celebrated to promote the table tennis globally to be played in every part of the world, and this day also marks the International Day of Sport for Development and Peace. So don't remember all the things, just remember it was celebrated first time in 2015 and it was celebrated with the theme table tennis for all. Table tennis for all. Now we can move to the next point. It is the HDFC acquires 10% stake in Kerala Infrastructure Fund Management Limited. Just remember it is HDFC Limited, not the HDFC Bank. HDFC Limited acquires 10% stake in the Kerala infrastructure. So this is just a one-liner point. Next, SEBI imposed rupees 25 crore fine on the Ambanis for violation of the takeover code regulation in 2000. So the showcase notice was earlier given, but now they are imposing 25 crore rupees fine to all the members of the Ambanis which are involved under this takeover. But guys, you have to remember about SEBI. SEBI was established in 1988, but it becomes the statutory body in 1992. And who is currently head of SEBI? SEBI head is Ajay Tyagi. Next is Prime Minister Modi ji and Seychelles Prime Minister or the President Wavell Ramkalvan participate in the India Seychelles high level virtual event. So guys, India is providing so much money to build infrastructure in the Seychelles, and especially the capital city of Seychelles, that is Victoria, that is also a part of the reconstruction, and India is also providing so much fund for this reconstruction. So guys, remember capital is Victoria, president is Wavell Ramakalvan, and currency Seychelles rupee. Next is Bahrain Foreign Minister Al Zayani visit to India. So again, the question is not important because it is one person who visited India, but you have to remember Bahrain. Bahrain is very important country for you. Bahrain Crown Prince is Prince Salman bin Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, but you have to just remember Prince Salman. Capital is Manama and currency is Bahraini dinar, and they focus, both the countries basically focus on the oil and gas sector, health and the defense. Oil is basically very important because all the Gulf countries has rich resources of the oil. So that's why we are focusing on the Bahrain. Next is Environment Ministry amends the emission norms for the thermal power plant. Just remember the Environment Ministry, who is currently the Union Minister of Environment, that is Prakash Javadekar ji. Remember this. Now we can move to the next question, and it is the question of the day. 9th April question was, Hriday scheme was launched by the Urban Development Ministry aims at. First of all, you have to remember what is the abbreviation of this Hriday. The National Heritage Development and Augmentation Yojana. I am repeating again, National Heritage Development and Augmentation Yojana, that seeks to preserve and rejuvenate the rich cultural heritage of the country, and it was launched by then Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. So it is basically to conserve the heritage sites. It means development of heritage sites. So D answer is right. Now we can move to the question of the day. What is the question of the day? Which of the following is the name of the US Parliament? Very simple question and very renowned question, but you have to answer me every option. Like Diet is the name of the Parliament of which country? Senate, Congress, House of Commons. So guys, you have to remember all the options, and all the options you have to give me answer in the comment box. I am waiting your answer. And guys, please provide 700 plus like. It is our target, and please subscribe our channel if you're new on this platform. Please like this video, and guys, please press the bell button so that you can receive the notification on time. And it is Affairs Cloud promise that it will boost your confidence in the general awareness section, because 90 to 95% current affairs which are coming in your exams are covered by videos and the PDF. So guys, you have to subscribe our PDFs, and you can subscribe from our application, and application link is given in the description box. And guys, you can subscribe for 1 year as well as for 2 years. Both the prices are very much low, and we are also providing the 10% extra discount on that minimal price if you use this code ASH10. And guys, remember, don't take life so much serious. Life is fun. Always be happy. Happiness is the key of success. And guys, thank you for watching this video, and take care. Bye bye. We will meet tomorrow. Thank you guys. Take care.